Scoodly doodly doo, it's time for another Welch review. Scoodly doodly doo doo.
Evening, gang. Welcome to another episode of the Welch Review. It's good to be talking with you. I hope you've had a good week so far. This episode, we're talking about Scott Cooper's Antlers, which starred Jesse Plemons as Paul Meadow. And Jesse Plemons was in Black Mass, the Breaking Bad spin-off movie, El Camino, and recently on Netflix in I'm Thinking of Ending Things. I think he also was just nominated for an Oscar for Power of the Dog with his wife, Kirsten Dunst. So congrats, Jesse, rooting for you. It also has Carrie Russell in this movie as Julia Meadows. And Carrie Russell was in Waitress, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes with Matt Reeves directed, and Dark Skies. You could also see her in The Rise of Skywalker. Forgive me, I don't remember the name of her character, but I know she was recruited to be in that. Joining them, you have Jeremy T. Thomas as Lucas Weaver, and Jeremy was in Lore, Paradise Lost, and The Righteous Gemstones. You also have Graham Greene as Warren Stokes, and Graham was in Wind River, Dances with Wolves, and American Gods. You have Scott Hayes as Frank Weaver, Child of God, Venom, and Old Henry were movies Scott Hayes was in. And then you have Rory Cochrane as Daniel LaCroix. And Rory Cochrane was in Argo, Hostiles, and Black Mass, which is cool because two of those movies were also directed by Scott Cooper. And he also worked with Jesse Plemons in Black Mass. So there's a little bit of, you're seeing people who have worked together before and, keep returning to that, that's really cool. I wonder if they're friends. So after Rory, you have Amy Madigan as Principal Ellen Booth, and Amy was in Field of Dreams, Uncle Buck, and the Michael Pere classic, criminally underrated Streets of Fire. We might do something with that down the road, but that's a great movie. You should definitely check that out. And then you have Sawyer Jones as Aiden Weaver, and Sawyer was in Chicago Med, Modern Family, forgive me, and Madagascar, a Little Wild, which I'm guessing is a spin-off of DreamWorks' trilogy of animated films. And this is based on the short story The Quiet Boy by Nick Antosca. Forgive me if I mispronounced your name. Definitely seems like it's worth reading based on this. And the screenplay was written by Scott Cooper, who wrote Hostiles, Out of the Furnace, and Crazy Heart, and by Henry Chazon, who wrote Servant, Open 24 Hours, and Breaker Breaker. And what also is cool about this is it was produced by Guillermo del Toro, who did Hellboy, Hellboy 2, The Shape of Water, Blade 2. So it's really cool seeing that he's taking other directors under his wing and, producing some really cool stuff. And again, as I said, this is directed by Scott Cooper, and Scott Cooper did Crazy Heart, Black Mass, Out of the Furnace. And it's nice because it seems like every time this man steps behind the camera, he's never doing the same film twice, right? He's kind of done a music love story. He's done a, gritty backwoods revenge thriller. He's done the pseudo-western frontier film. He did the mafia police film. And now he's stepping into a horror movie, right? So he's always challenging himself. So I think we can expect big things from Scott Cooper in the future as he keeps rounding out the various genres he's going to be focusing on. So really kudos to you, Mr. Cooper. That was really great. So Antlers takes place definitely in the the Northwest. I'm probably wrong with that. Let's backpedal. It takes place in rural United States, right? So we're in the rural United States, heavily wooded area, and it focuses on this small town that's clearly gone through a lot, right? Like it's not America's backyard. There's definitely drugs pumped in the community. The depression has hit the area. People are in and out of work, and some crazy stuff starts going on, right? It opens with these gentlemen in their crack den, working on another batch of drugs, and then something is coming that's going bump in the night and attacks them. And it seems to be like the police believe it's possibly drug-related crime, which unfolds into other supernatural type things. And for the most part, this film is through the eyes of young Sawyer Jones, who plays Aiden. And the effect of a young boy trying to navigate the horrors of being on his own, figuring out what it is to be a caretaker, how to survive, how to navigate his own troubles, as well as the things that's affecting his family. So there are a lot of very powerful themes here. On the flip side, you have the Meadows, right? Paul and Julia. And Paul has now become the sheriff of the town. So he has an authoritative figure, right? Julia is a teacher, but she's come back home after a long period of time being away. As you watch the film, and I hope this isn't a spoiler, but we learned that their upbringing was not easy by any means. It seems their father was incredibly abusive to both of them. However, it seems that Julia took a brunt of it. And I think the way that Scott Cooper films this and shows the effects that it had on Julia is truly, truly terrifying, right? Because it shows how scars are kind of like ghosts and they haunt you, right? They stay there. And he really does a really great job of making that real, and I think making the audience experience that pain with her. So as she is navigating her own demons and Paul is figuring out his new role as sheriff, a string of murders start amounting in the town, right? So you got what's happening through Paul's eyes, through Julia's eyes, and through, young Aiden's eyes. And eventually all those collide. Now, this is a spoiler. This film does very much deal with the supernatural, a creature that has been discussed in other movies. I know Stephen King's Pet Sematary, they talk about a Windigo. In Supernatural, the television series, they talked about a Windigo. There's a video game, I think it's Just Before Dawn or Before Dawn. It involves, I apologize if that's the wrong title, but it involves a Windigo. And in Scott Cooper's film, it involves a Windigo, which is a creature from Native American folklore. And, when it does come about, it's terrifying to look at. In a way, it kind of seems like they went with kind of how Alien worked, right? Ridley Scott's Alien. It seems to be sort of like that. Like it's the spirit that it chooses you, inhabits you, lives in you, and then when it's fed all it can off you, it comes out and you're left as a husk, like when a butterfly sheds its cocoon. We're the cocoon. And it's a very interesting idea, just because it's like, everybody, they say, you got two wolves in you, right? Some one good, one bad, and it depends what you feed. So that creature maybe perhaps feeds off of the bad in you and comes to light and out of you. And there's a really cool scene between Julia Meadows, Paul Meadows, and Lucas Weaver, right? Jeremy T. Thomas, where he explains a Windigo, and they're like, isn't that fake? And then he says, like, maybe to you, because, they're white people, and, like, they don't understand, the traditions that came long, long before, settlers came here. And that was a really, really good back and forth dialogue between them. I would definitely encourage everyone, if you see it, to go back and rewatch it, because it stayed with me a couple times. In terms of the creature itself, Wendigos freak me out. I went on a walk shortly after seeing it, and I was looking in the trees thinking something's going to jump out at me and eat me and drag me away. I would say it did a pretty good job. I think there could have been a little bit more Wendigoing, but that's like a small complaint, I guess, in the long run. Overall, I'd say that Antlers is a solid film about what the horror of abuse and how that stays with you is. It's a really and what evil is that within, like a metaphor for a lot of that. It's a haunting film. It's a beautifully shot film. It's kind of a grim movie too, in terms of color. It's very it seems like it has a haze over it the whole time. But again, very, very good movie for a lot of reasons. If you're looking for a creature feature to pop on, I would highly encourage it. So, do yourself a favor, go pick up Antlers. Great movie. I look forward to talking with you guys again. Stay gold, and I'll see you next time.